Well, Dave, I missed you last week.
Yes,
while
sir.
I was down in Costa Rica, and certainly we were down there catching tunas.
Yeah.
I did use some of the tips that you gave me before I left on the marlin, and I appreciate that. I think it really made a big difference. But, you know, this week we're talking about tunas,
Right.
something that you've caught a lot in your career.
Well, yeah, I like to run from tuna fishes because those things pull hard. You know, a blue marlin, when you hook him, at least he has the sense to come up to the top and give up, you know,
Right.
jump around and give up. Tuna fish never give up. He's the athlete of the sea. If you look at that little mount up there, he's fat and powerful. He's got that great long tail and the big sickles on him. You know, all tunas are shaped like footballs, just various size footballs, you know, just really built to swim and swim strong.
Right.
So, you know, and that's why we like to, you know, catch them. They also have that dark red flesh that we love to eat. It's very mild. It doesn't have a lot of fat in it unless, you know, you get to the great big ones, and then it gets fatter and fatter, and a lot of guys even like that. But, you know, I think the worst thing you can do is to ever put fire onto a tuna fish. I like them raw with some little ponzu sauce on them or some soy sauce, and that's how I like them. But if we're going to eat them, we got to catch them. And, you know, they spend a lot of their time in big schools. All tuna fish are schooling fish. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the things that attract those schools. And it can either be, you know, a big reef, a wreck, a hump, some sort of structure. But all these things have one thing in common. That's going to be bait. You know, little fish, little baits of some sort, fish, squids, whatever it is that they want to be eaten. And it can range in size from little things like this that look more like a piece of monofilament with an eyeball on it,
Right.
all the way up to flying fish and little mackerels and even other tuna fishes.
Yeah, big,
you know,
giant.
Yeah,
Something
big
giant.
yellowfin tuna. The best thing to use in the world to catch a 200-pound yellowfin is a 10-pound skipjack. You know, you catch a nice big skipjack tuna to catch other big tunas. But to find these tuna fish, we're going to, first off, you want to find that bait, you're going to either use your sounder and get out there in the deep water. Most of these tunas are living in deep water, except for some of the blackfins. You know, you can catch them close to shore here in Florida. But most of the tuna fish, we're going to have to go to the other side of the Gulf Stream on the East Coast, or make long runs on the West Coast to get out to that deep blue warm water that these tunas, and they like really clear water. And unfortunately for us, they have really good eyesight, and they can see colors really well. And so we need to use, most of the time we use fluorocarbon leader. We'll go down to 40 pound if we have to, just to get bites. The more the tuna in your area are getting pressure, the harder it is to fish for them, because all that pressure, they get boat shy, as the boys were saying. So you got to drop your stuff further and further back, which means that when they get on, they're going to be on for longer and longer. And the longer a fish is on, especially a tuna fish, the odds are in his favor every second.
Right.
And if he's in deep water and he can get down on you and get his head down, he goes straight to the bottom, and then you just got to work him all the way back up. And he comes up slow, you know, in a big circle and a big pinwheels. And when he starts pinwheeling at the end, that's when we know we're about to break him.
Right.
So
let me ask you this, Dave. You know, I'm going to play the devil here. In regards to the obvious things, certainly, or when you find birds early in the morning,
Right.
that structure that you talked about, you see tunas busting on the surface. But what about on the days when you don't see that?
Well,
what do you typically do?
You use your sounder, and you go to try to find those balls of bait, or mammals. If you see a presence of porpoises up on the surface, or even if you see the bait. One of the most important things, you know, a lot of times you see these tunas up on the surface and they're going crazy, and you drag all your stuff through them and you don't get bit. And you go, man, I can't believe all my beautiful swimming baits didn't get bit.
Right.
Well, if you take a good notice of what those fish are eating, a lot of times, like I said, they're eating little tiny stuff.
Tiny things.
So if you go by with a big ballyhoo imitation, or a cedar plug,
yeah.
something that's this size, and they're all toned in on stuff that's this size, they're not going to eat that.
Right.
So you got to downsize. If you're not getting bites and you see those tunas slashing at the surface, they're not frolicking. They're not having fun. They're up there eating something that you can't see, and it's so small that you need to get your stuff down to that small. And the best thing to do is get a little octopus like this, and a little octopus skirt, and an 1/8 ounce weight. I got an 1/8 ounce weight that you shove up in there, and a double strength, live
real
bait,
hook.
a real
heavy duty
heavy-duty
hook.
Because what's going to happen is when the fish gets up close, the mate's going to go ahead and grab that light leader, and if and that the pressure is going to change a lot, that he's been used to that 7 pounds of drag that you've been fighting him on. The mate reaches down there and makes a couple of wraps because he didn't want that tuna to let go. The tuna gets his head and it's going to pow, he's going to pop that light leader.
Or
so,
if you don't have a heavy duty hook.
That's right.
Straighten
And make
it out.
sure when you get, I see a lot of guys make this mistake, gaff him in his head.
Yeah.
If the fish is big enough for you to eat and you want to put him in the boat, hit him in the head with the gaff. Don't hit him in the loin. Don't hit him in the meat.
Don't hit him in the sweet spot.
No, hit him in the head. Pull him in by the head.
All right, speaking of hitting somebody in the head, I'm sorry, Bree.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So glad to have you back, Rick.
And don't touch
Missed
their
you.
tail. They don't like
Missed
their
you
tails
so
touched.
much.
No.
All